What is up, guys? It is a new day and we're back on the flatbed project. Let's get into it. All right, so as you guys can see, I have not really done anything to it since the last time we talked. I did, however, complete the front bumper install on the Jeep. So if you want to see that and you haven't already, there's a link down below for that. But I believe this is going to be episode 3 or 4 of the flatbed build. In this episode, we're solving one of the biggest problems that I had with the old flatbed, and that is going to be storage. So if you guys saw the last episode of the flatbed build that I did, I actually had closed in this section here, and if you made it all the way to the end of that video, you realize that that plan didn't work out how I expected it to. And the more that I've thought about it, these panels really do need to be removable long term. But I think I have an idea for something a little bit more interesting for the rear panel. When I'm looking at this rearmost section, I have a giant space right here that is really just begging to be filled with something. And there's no reason why I'm not utilizing this space back here for storage. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna clean up all of these welds, get all of that nice and squared away. But I am also gonna see if we can either, one, find something already made, or two, if we need to build some kind of a storage container for the back of the Jeep just behind that rear axle. And my goal with that is going to actually have this panel on quick releases so that I can either flip it up or flip it down to gain access to the storage box that'll be back here. So that's what we're working on today. And I guess our first stop is going to be the hardware store. Harbor Freight number 2. All right, guys, so it took me a few different stores and actually 2 Harbor Freights to find one in stock, but I think I have it. I think I have exactly what I'm looking for. Let's see if it'll fit. So there we go. According to the measurements online, this should fit right back there. I do, however, need to clean this up a little bit so I can get those wires out of the way, and then we'll see if we can make this work. Let's see if this thing works. So the box came with keys. I'm not going to want to utilize the keys for a couple reasons. One, the key slot is directly underneath this top cross beam that I made, and also I hate keys. I hate keys so much. I literally only have one. I have one key to my name. Well, now 3, but I'm never going to use these. I have one key to my name. I don't even have a key to my house. Yes, we lock our house. There's a keypad thing, but I'm never going to use these. We got to work on a couple things. All right, so as far as mounting this thing goes, I want to have the entire box within the frame here, so it's going to go back a little bit further. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is create tabs to utilize this so it can bolt here and then bolt to the underside of that on each side. It's going to be pretty permanent, but I could also just unbolt it and remove it if I ever decided I needed to. But I am going to need some kind of spacers. As you guys can see, whenever you open the door, it actually is contacting the frame. So what I think I'm going to do is run to Lowe's again, grab some 1/2-inch spacers and some hardware, and then we'll come back here and make some tabs. All right, guys, so we are back from the hardware store, and this is what I'm thinking. I have this piece of angle iron. Bought it thinking I was going to use it for something and haven't yet. But I think we're going to now. I'm going to measure this, cut this down to size, and more than likely we'll end up bolting that to the body mounts and then drill holes so that we can mount the box to this with our 1/2-inch spacers. Drilled all the holes. I kind of spaced them out so there'll be 2 forward and 2 back. I bolted this on so that it doesn't move. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put the box on, mark for these, drill them, paint this, and this should be done. Holes are marked. Now we drill them. So I picked up these 1/2-inch nylon spacers, 4 of these, 4 bolts, and we're gonna test fit this before we paint. All right, so it's kind of blending all in together now, but got the bracket in and across. All the holes are drilled, it's painted up. Now we're ready to take the box and throw her in there. Let's catch you guys up. It's been like, I don't know, 2 weeks or so since I filmed that last section where I was installing the security box or the storage box or whatever it's called. And yeah, so that's on. It's on there. I don't know that I'm super stoked with how it turned out, but it's there. It's going to work. It's going to be perfectly fine. Apparently it decided to get cold again here in South Carolina, and very windy, as you guys can hear. And so yeah, we're dealing with that, but I did make a run to the steel yard yesterday. Well, I just ran to the steel yard to grab a sheet of steel, and it immediately started raining. So this is gonna like rust immediately. In other news, at least the rain is gonna get rid of all of this pollen for us. And today, we're gonna go ahead and start tracing some templates, see if we can't make some panels out of it. Have it. It's all done in cardboard. Probably said this like 10 million times already, is that we're just going to do a giant wheel arch all the way around, and the wheel arch is going to come up to the bottom of this rail for the flatbed. I'm going to have a bend, I think, that's going to allow for essentially this, so that I can bolt this panel all the way down this rail, and then that's going to allow it to still be removable, give it a little bit of rigidity. There's also going to be the bolts all up and down that, and then there's also this one here. I may need to add another upright place or another place to bolt it, but I'm hoping that that'll do the job. I think this will do. So the wheel arch isn't perfect, and it doesn't really help with covering up any of that stuff back there, but that's kind of what I have to do, because as you guys can see, just the way that it's built, this wheel has to travel upwards, and my last flatbed, the tire was rubbing on the frame of the flatbed as it was. So to gain a little bit more clearance, I have to raise this up, and the last one wasn't closed in at all. This one is gonna at least be closed in somewhat. So don't worry, that wheel arch is going to be perfectly circle and exactly 40 inches around, or maybe 42 inches around. But this gives me the shape, so I can go ahead and start cutting and see what we're left with. Got our first piece cut. Let's clamp it up and see how we did. All right, so for the wheel arch, that's actually going to start about here, which the shadows aren't really helping, but that's going to line me up in front of this control arm mount. And that's going to free it so that I can actually push this panel back into place. But I'll give you a little walk around. I mean, the shape's all there. My idea is to have 2 inches overhanging here, because this is a 2-inch bar, and that's going to allow me to bend it so that this portion is going to be perfectly flat across the bar. So before any shaping, at least we know that we kind of have an idea of what we're doing. All right, guys, so I know this video has kind of been all over the place, and we've done kind of a lot of stuff, but at the same time, not really much at all. I'm gonna go ahead and just call it right here. So that's the end of this episode of the flatbed build. Obviously, we have a lot more work left to do, and Jeep Beach is right around the corner. So if you guys didn't know already, Force Motoring, the company that I co-own with my buddy Will, we're gonna have a booth at Jeep Beach. So we'll definitely want to see you guys there, and you're gonna hear a lot more about that coming forward. But until then, we got a lot of work to do. Both of us are trying to finish some pretty crazy builds. So yeah, nevertheless, we are in Jeep Beach crunch time, and I'm gonna try and document as much as I can for you guys. But until Jeep Beach, it's gonna be pretty busy around here. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate everyone who's subscribed. I know the channel's been growing little by little, and frankly, like, this just makes me so stoked that anyone cares to stick around and watch me pretend like I know what I'm doing. So nevertheless, if you guys like the video, hit the like button, drop a comment down below if you see something that I'm doing that I could be doing differently, and I will see you guys in the next one.